folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat and today I would like to talk about The Grief Nurse by Angie Spoto. Another NetGalley book that releases on the 13th of April, so I will leave links for the pre-order or buying of the book in the description box below. Lynx lives with the previously rich but still prestigious family of the Asters. And if you're rich, grief does not suit you, so Lynx uses her ability as a grief nurse to remove grief, sorrow, dread from the Asters whenever they need it. When people assemble at the mansion to remember the recently deceased sculptor Aster, what starts out as a social event when no one is truly sad thanks to Lynx and another grief nurse, soon takes a dark turn because the first corpse turns up. Quite some time had passed between me asking for this book on NetGalley and actually receiving it. So by the time I got it, I was like, okay, I picked this because it sounded interesting, but what did the description actually say? And as usual, I didn't actually look this up, I just started reading it. And will I ever learn? Will I ever learn to just reread the blurb before I start a book to have a vague idea of what's happening? But no, I guess I won't. So I did not see the murder mystery that is also going on coming, but I'm happy it's there. The concept of a grief nurse's ability was intriguing, but stayed somewhat vague until the very end. Even then I couldn't tell you what exactly a person could possibly do with this ability, let alone how any of it works. That part is not explored. It just happens. There's a certain set of people called faders, whose grief works differently from those of the average person, I guess, but I can't exactly tell you how that works either. And then a fader is the only person who can give birth to a grief nurse, which is easily recognizable by their white hair and very pale eyes, who then have those abilities. How any of this came to be or how it works, can't tell you, the book doesn't tell you, but the ability itself is very intriguing. The book overall felt rather short to me. It takes a couple of chapters before things actually start happening, because you need to be eased into the world and learn something about the abilities or how the world is structured before it really kicks off. But once it does, it goes by very quickly. This is borderline spoiler territory, but I will keep it as vague as possible and it shouldn't give much away. So at some point you encounter a character that wants a specific something. But even when they tell you why they want it, I don't see how they could know about the things that lead to this in the first place, because when certain events happened, they were still a newborn baby and could not possibly remember any of what went down, nor would they have had anybody in their life that would have actually known about this or told them about this if they had known. So there is a certain character with the motivation that is, I guess, in general makes sense, but I don't see how they could have arrived at said motivation, because they would have never known the things they needed to know to get there. That was not super vague and weird at all, but had to be said because it bothered me when I got to the point. When the first corpse turns up, they are all stuck on this island and at this mansion because the ferry is not going anywhere due to the weather. And that kind of made it feel like a locked room murder mystery at some point, but there are not enough people with enough motives to pass for suspects to really make that work either. You see the whole book from Lynx's perspective, and I quite liked her as a character. She doesn't lead an easy life, with being easily singled out with her ability and also living with possibly not the nicest people to begin with. And then you also see flashes from her past when suppressed memories come back up, and yeah, she had a rough start in life. Her relationships with the family are also quite interesting to see. And man, this family is messed up. I'm not sure whether this is just tied to them being entitled rich people, or how much is literally just down to the existence of grief nurses and the idea that people can just do away with their grief and never deal with it. Because obviously that sounds messed up from where I'm sitting, but that's how this world works. The abilities or concepts of both grief nurses and faders left me with quite a few questions, which is a shame. I would have liked to at least understand faders a bit better than I do. For grief nurses, okay, I don't understand the origin of the ability and I won't learn how it actually works. It's okay, it's a soft magic system, if you will, that makes sense. Or I can live with that. But then for faders, I still can't tell you much about them beyond the fact that grief nurses find their grief more alluring than average grief. Also, everybody's grief takes on a different form, which is also quite interesting to see. Like, somebody has an animal, actually more than one person has an animal, which shapes their grief. And then other people are just like an element or like almost a whole landscape. So the concept was very intriguing. Because this book is not out for another few weeks, I have to keep this vague and all the spoilers to myself. Well, I tried at least. But overall, I enjoyed my time with this book. Once it picks up speed, it goes by very quickly. And I was rooting for Lynx. So yeah, overall I think it's this cat and a paw, and this will round up to 4 stars on all of your average reviewing platforms, I guess. So if you are interested in an intriguing concept about grief and taking emotions from other people, then this book might be for you. It's not as much of a locked room murder mystery as I expected at some point, but then again I didn't read the blurb, so I only have myself to blame. Do let me know in the comments whether there's a particular book coming out soon that you're looking forward to. Like and subscribe if you want to help this channel out, and I'll be back next week with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye folks!